From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Thursday's edition of For the People for a July the 6th, 2017. That's some sad news yesterday. It's about Representative Steve Scalise, the House Majority Whip, and doctors say that they pretty much anticipated all of this. I think, when you hear the news and you don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but doctors at the hospital where House Majority Whip has been recovering from a gunshot wound, which most of us know, but was downgraded for his condition from fair to serious. So there was a big shocker. Now, MedStar, Washington Hospital Center, said Scalise had been readmitted to the intensive care unit. The hospital added that it would provide another update sometime later today. And so we don't know exactly what's going on, but we know that he was struck in the hip, and the bullet tore multiple blood vessels and bones and messed up internal organs, and he's been undergoing several surgeries, and he definitely needs a lot of prayer, but no update as of yet. I'm sure we'll be getting one a little bit later on, but it's never good when you have some kind of infection. But doctors say that they anticipated that he would be getting an infection. I would imagine with all the surgeries, the guy would be on some antibiotics. So I don't know if they're trying different things on there, and that's probably what they'll have to do. But that's a tough thing just when you think he was making recovery. So pray for him. Definitely. What an awful thing that happened to him. Hopefully there's a victory lap. His seat is being set every time that they meet without him. And House Speaker Ryan was very emotional just 3 days ago. I saw him talking to one of the, I think it was ABC, just talking how emotional it is when he looks over the seat and does not see him there, and they all are praying for him up on Capitol Hill, and we should all do the very, very same thing. Man, what a reception for Donald Trump over in Poland. I mean, they were chanting Donald Trump. It was a beautiful thing. They really share a lot of commonalities with the United States, but just listen to the Poland people. I've called this the Donald Trump chant. Check this out. This is pretty cool. All right, so they were chanting Donald Trump. It was pretty cool. Star-studded, rolled out the red carpet and everything like that. But delivered a very staunch defense of Western values during a very rousing speech. And here's a little portion of that.
The story of Poland is the story of a people who have never lost hope, who have never been broken, and who have never, ever forgotten who they are.
In his speech, Trump saluted Polish sacrifice and underscored the United States' commitment for NATO, Poland, and Western values. And Poland has built up their military substantially, and one of the biggest pluses that Poland has got for them, and that Trump loves them for, is that they are ponying up money for NATO, unlike so many other countries that are not. They're paying their full share, and that's a good thing. And during this time where, there's a lot of uncertainties in the world, it's nice to know that we have strong allies like Poland that would be there at our side, and likewise. So that's a beautiful thing. Still threats with obvious problems with North Korea, and he addressed that very issue right there in Poland as well.
Not only must we secure our nations from the threat of terrorism, but we must also confront the threat from North Korea, and that's what it is. It's a threat, and we will confront it very strongly.
A lot of people don't exactly know what that means, but we've been talking about it. Sanctions, for one, but very troublesome. There's a gentleman that writes, he's a columnist for the Daily Beast, and China obviously hasn't been a whole lot of help from sanctions because a lot of their earnings over there, their GDP, happens to be from importing items to North Korea. And not just food and things like that, but missiles. And he's got a different take maybe you haven't heard before. Here's Gordon Chang.
First of all, China sees a lot of short-term gains by North Korean provocations. Because every time North Korea does something provocative, we run to Beijing, plead for cooperation. And also, we stop talking about the things that care to us. Like, for instance, predatory trade practices, cyber attacks on American networks, Taiwan, you name it. Right. We don't talk about it, and Beijing really likes that. Also, China has actually weaponized North Korea. So, for instance, the mobile launcher that North Korea used yesterday to launch this Hwasong-14 missile, that came from China. Also, there's been other evidence of Chinese missiles showing up in North Korea's inventory. So I think that essentially Beijing actually likes what's going on right now.
I think that Gordon Chang is absolutely correct on this whole matter, and just the reluctance, with money and profitability, and just with Russia, with their whole stance on this, and with the Irans, I mean, they're thinking in unison about this whole thing, thinking about economics, and they're very worried about, well, if there is some kind of shakeup there in the north, they're afraid of immigrants going into their country. I would be more afraid of nukes going off in my country, to be frank with you, than immigrants coming in from the north, which need some safe haven. But it's interesting what people's priorities are. But, there is inhumane with a lot of their practices in China, and him to point out, I thought was pretty amazing. They don't want us to talk about these particular things, but I think Trump's going to have to take a big hard line on China, and I really saw the writing on the wall. I've been thinking about this long and hard for several months about our dependence on China. And we have been sold such a bill of goods because of the free trade that we've locked ourselves in. We need to start making things again like we did. We need to stop being so dependent upon them. Now, the interlude with the banking and with the debt ratio, with the loans coming out from China, that's a problem. But these things can be readjusted for national security. We're not seeing eye to eye on this, clearly. And it is a huge benefit to China to side with them. But they're not gonna get favorability marks from the rest of the world. And whether they care or not, it's to be heard. What good the UN is going to be able to do with sanctions, that's going to be a real interesting thing to find out what the meeting wrought. Not a whole lot of information that came out from yesterday's meeting, but I'm sure it'll be tipped up. But this has to be addressed immediately because we're not ready for this. We're not ready in so many different ways. From an infrastructure standpoint, militarily speaking, this is not down to a science because of how fast these missiles travel into the atmosphere. And, speeding bullet, faster than a speeding bullet to be able to shoot these down, it's not accurate. And our Defense Department has been speaking out saying this is not exact science. Some of the tests have been pretty much calculated, but it's not a 100% science here. So, Pyongyang, if they decide to unleash everything towards us, the chances are they're going to be able to hit us and could wipe out a significant amount of people. Some of the defense folks say that we'll probably get most of them. That's on a good day. Donald Trump wastes no time. As he's been in Poland, he has brought up this whole CNN thing is still kind of still lingering here, and I had to just rip it off the wire here, but it says a day after CNN's president complained The president of CNN is complaining, by the way. He says that President Trump was trying to bully the network, trying to bully him. So Trump, today, as a matter of fact, he lambasted the channel as being a dishonest and fake news agency, suggesting that they took his infamous wrestling gif too seriously. And speaking during a joint news conference with the president there in Poland, Trump addressed the network's latest controversy after CNN this week appeared to threaten to expose the Reddit user who created the gif of Trump wrestling the person with CNN logo photoshopped over his head. He says, I think what CNN did was unfortunate for them. As you know, they have some pretty serious problems, Trump said. They have been fake news for a long time, and they've been covering me in a very, very dishonest way. I would say, yes, they have. And by the way, I thought it was interesting. Did you see who's actually kind of coming to the rescue of Donald Trump? Who did Donald Trump, what was his nickname for Ted Cruz? Lion Ted. Well, guess what? Ted Cruz in the news saying that perhaps what CNN has done has broken the law under Georgia law. No kidding. Did you see this? Oh, yeah, I saw this actually on the Blaze under fake news. So, all right, here it is. I was kind of searching for it. I was looking at the wrestling picture, which is just hilarious with the logo imposed. Love the GIF. Great job, by the way. So Ted Cruz saying CNN might have committed a crime, once again, when they did this. He posted this on his Twitter account, explaining why CNN might have committed this crime. A user of the Reddit social media platform claimed that he was the creator of the animated video that was put out using biographical details that have left in his social media footprint, and he contacted the man on Monday, but before they communicated, he deleted his online post and published lengthy apology. I told you all about that, and that was been released. That's a well deal. So Cruz saying that this is very troublesome about the story. He says, I assume CNN's lawyers are examining the G8 16-8-16 theft by extortion. If CNN has constructively obtained the GIF IP, it's a Georgia crime if they threaten to decimate any information tending to the subject, any person, to hatred, contempt, or ridicule. And then Cruz later tweeted another law that CNN may have broken, another relevant crime law, New York 135-60, if a person is guilty of concession in the second degree when he induces a person to abstain from engaging in conduct in which he has a legal right to engage by means of installing a fear the actor will expose a secretive, publicize an asserted fact, whether true or false, tending to the subject, some person, to hatred, contempt, or ridicule. You got to give it to the lawyers. They know all of this stuff. They research this stuff. This is what they do. That's why they have libraries. But anyway, these laws on the books that I've looked at, and I'm checking this, checked it out. I fact-checked it. It's accurate. Cruz is dead right. There could be a lawsuit, and this guy, probably will end up getting some money out of the whole deal and protection. But they were clearly in his face, threatening him, and he's probably afraid for his life because of the unhinged folks in the country that have this liberal lunacy going for him, that they would be attacking him, which is very, very unfair. A lot of people do a lot of things on social media. This guy doesn't deserve CNN threatening him. Very, very unfair, given the very fact it is proof that CNN has repetitively lied. The distrust in media is an all-time high. There was a new poll that showed that over 35 to 40% of Americans that I was reading today distrust the media, the mainstream media. They don't believe it. They don't trust it. And no wonder the ratings are down for ABC and CBS and for all the other channels. But CNN is definitely the fraud news network by far. They are garbage.